You're awake, or at least you think you're awake, because the first thought that crosses your mind, even before you open your eyes, is, it can't be morning already. And yet, yes, it is. That ray of light filtering through the crooked blind as if it wanted to screw you personally? It's the sun! That thing that's been ringing for 10 minutes with the insistence of a creditor? It's the alarm clock. And that feeling of being hit by a night bus? It's your life. Welcome to the Middle Ages. Yes, you read that right. The Middle Ages. Not the one with knights and shining armor and princesses and castles. No, the real one. The one where people slept on flea-infested straw sacks, woke up at dawn because there was no electricity, and the first thing they saw upon opening their eyes was a ceiling full of cobwebs, or, if they were lucky, a few mice having breakfast before them. Oh, and the bathroom? A hole dug in the courtyard. The heating? A fireplace that smoked more than an industrial smokestack and left you half asphyxiated. Hot water? A luxury for nobles. Breakfast? Stale bread with a little lard, if you were lucky. There, that's your morning. Except you have a mattress, a shower, and a fridge full of stuff. Yet you feel exactly like a 14th century peasant dragging himself out of bed knowing the day will be a long, exhausting, inevitable suffering. Why? Because we live in the Middle Ages disguised as modernity. A Middle Ages with Wi-Fi, but still a Middle Ages. And now I'll explain why. If you woke up this morning like this, leave a like now. That way I'll know I'm not the only one living in the Middle Ages. That way I'll know you understand. Stay until the end. It's worth it. Let's start with the bed. Your bed, the one you just spent 8 hours on, or 6, or maybe 4 if you stayed up until 3 scrolling on TikTok. That bed that should be your refuge, your sanctuary, the place where your body regenerates and your soul finds peace. Spoiler alert, it's not. Because your mattress, that thing you bought on sale on Amazon 3 years ago, now has the consistency of a flattened pancake. The box spring underneath creaks like an old barn door every time you turn over. And the sheets? Did you change those? When exactly? Oh yeah, 2 weeks ago? Maybe 3. Or was it a month? Well, doesn't matter. They've absorbed so much night sweat by now that they could stand up on their own. But you know what's the funny part? In the Middle Ages, things weren't all that different. People slept on straw mattresses. Straw! Stuff that after a few months became a living incubator for mites, fleas, and various insects. They didn't have regularly washed cotton sheets. They had rags. And if you slept next to an animal, because obviously animals slept indoors to keep warm, well, you were also sharing a bed with their fleas. You don't have fleas. You have mites. And maybe a few cockroaches that occasionally make a detour under your bedside table. Progress, huh? Now you get up. You sit on the edge of the bed. Your knees creak, your back hurts. You're 30, but your body feels like it's 50. You look around. The room is a mess. Clothes thrown on the chair, a pile of books you'll never read piled in a corner, the floor covered in a film of dust that if you ran your finger across it would leave a visible mark. And the air? The air smells stuffy, of sleep, of stagnant humanity. You open the window. Outside, there's smog, noise, a car horn, a dog barking, the voice of a neighbor yelling on the phone as early as 7 in the morning. Beautiful, refreshing. You instantly feel better. Or not. In the Middle Ages, if you opened the window in the morning, you saw fields. You heard birds, maybe even a pig grunting, sure, but at least it was nature. You see concrete. You hear engines. And the only animal you encounter is the half-bald pigeon that stares at you from the balcony every morning, as if judging your life choices. And he's probably right. Now it's time to go to the bathroom. You get up. You walk barefoot across the ice-cold floor because, sure, you have heating, but you don't turn it on until late November because the bills are expensive. You enter the bathroom. You turn on the light. You look at yourself in the mirror. Here, this is the moment. The moment you realize that, yes, you're awake, but now you're not ready to face the day. Your face looks back at you with an expression of pure betrayal. Your eyes are puffy. Your hair is an abstract mess. Your skin has that grayish hue typical of someone who hasn't seen the sun for weeks. You get closer. You notice a pimple, obviously, because you're 32 and you still have acne like a teenager. But you know what they did in the Middle Ages when they had a pimple? Nothing. Because they had completely different problems, like the plague, or leprosy, or simply the fact that no one ever washed, so one pimple more or less made no difference. You, on the other hand, look in the mirror and think, I need to buy another vitamin C serum. Because of course, the problem is the serum, not the fact that you sleep 4 hours a night and live mostly on carbohydrates and anxiety.
You wash your face, cold water because the hot one takes forever to arrive, and you don't have time. You dry yourself with a towel that, now that you think about it, you can't remember the last time you washed. It has a smell, not a strong smell, but it's there. A smell of dampness, of life lived, of modern Middle Ages. You brush your teeth. The toothbrush is old. The bristles are bent in all directions like a wheat field after a storm. The toothpaste ran out days ago, so now only a thin, liquid, useless streak comes out. But you persist. You scrub, you rinse, you look at yourself in the mirror again. Better? No. But at least you did something. At least you tried. In the Middle Ages, do you know what they used to brush their teeth? Twigs, tree branches chewed until they became a kind of primitive toothbrush, or cloth rags soaked in salt or aromatic herbs. And do you know how many teeth they had on average? Few, very few, because after 30, if you were lucky, you had about 10 left. You have all your teeth. Congratulations. You're further ahead than a 14th century peasant. What an achievement. Now it's time to get dressed. You go back to your bedroom, open the closet. Inside, it's chaos. Sweaters piled high, pants creased badly, a pair of jeans that haven't fit in 2 years but you keep there because sooner or later you'll lose weight, a jacket you bought on sale and never wear, a sweater with a hole under the armpit that you keep wearing because it won't show anyway. Choose, pick up a t-shirt. You smell it. Acceptable. Pants, jeans, always the same ones. The same ones you've been wearing for 3 days, but they're comfortable and clean, more or less. You get dressed. You look at yourself. There. You're ready. Or rather, you're dressed, which isn't the same thing. In the Middle Ages, people had like 2 outfits, one for every day, one for special occasions, and they wore them until they literally fell to pieces. Then they patched them up and brought them back. You have a closet full of them, yet you always wear the same 4 things because the rest doesn't fit you, or you don't like it anymore, or it's uncomfortable. Basically, you have more clothes than a medieval nobleman, but you behave exactly like a peasant who only has a tunic. Breakfast. Now comes the best part. Go to the kitchen. Open the fridge. Inside is a carton of milk that expired 3 days ago, a tub of yogurt with the date illegible, half a can of ham that looks suspiciously slimy, a shriveled pepper that now has more wrinkles than your grandmother, and 6 eggs. 6 eggs that have been sitting there for weeks and that you're keeping because eggs last. Close the fridge. Open the pantry. Inside is pasta, rice, jars of ready-made sauce, a box of cookies opened days ago that are now soggy, and a box of cereal you eagerly bought 3 months ago and have eaten exactly twice. You decide. Cereal. Pick up the box. You pour some into the bowl. It's crumbs. Add some milk. The expired one. It's only 3 days old anyway. What the heck? You eat. The milk has a strange aftertaste. The cereal is soggy. But go ahead, because this is breakfast. This is how you start the day, with mediocre food, eaten standing up, looking at your phone. In the Middle Ages, breakfast was bread. Stale bread, maybe soaked in a little beer or watered down wine because the water was often undrinkable, or a bit of porridge, thick, flavorless stuff that just filled your stomach. You have processed cereals full of sugar and pasteurized milk, and yet you feel exactly like that farmer gulping down his bowl of porridge while thinking, another shitty day. Now you have to go out. You get ready. Shoes, jacket, keys, wallet, phone, headphones, everything ready. Open the door, go out. The stairs, the elevator's broken. Obviously, it's been broken for a week. No one fixed it. No one will fix it. So you walk down 4 flights. Your knees creak with every step. You stop halfway to catch your breath. You're 30 years old and you're out of breath after 2 flights. In the Middle Ages, people walked miles every day. In the fields, in the woods, on dirt roads. You walk 4 flights and feel like a marathon runner. Congratulations! You reach the front door. You go out. Outside is the world, the real world, the one made up of traffic, smog, people walking quickly without looking you in the face, crowded buses, horns, traffic lights, illuminated advertisements, closed shops, open shops, bars that smell of burnt coffee and industrial croissants. You stop for a moment. You breathe. The air smells of exhaust, of cities, of the industrial Middle Ages. Because yes, we live in the Middle Ages. Only instead of plague epidemics, we have epidemics of anxiety. Instead of famines, we have famines of time. Instead of wars between fiefdoms, we have wars between tenants over parking. Instead of castles, we have condominiums. And instead of serfdom, we have fixed-term contracts. Progress. You take the bus, or at least you try, because obviously it's late, so you wait. There are other people at the bus stop. Everyone's looking at their phones. No one speaks. No one looks at each other. You're all there, standing still, waiting like a row of statues. The bus arrives. It's full, obviously. You squeeze inside. You're pressed against the door. A woman breathes down your neck. A man steps on your foot. A boy is listening to music very loudly on his headphones, and you can still hear it. The air inside is thick, a mix of sweat, cheap deodorant, coffee, and desperation. You close your eyes. You think, there are still 8 hours to go. 8 hours of work. 8 hours in an open-plan office where 50 people breathe the same recycled air, where the fluorescent lights sting your eyes, where the coffee from the machine tastes like liquid cardboard, where your boss sends you emails at 10 at night, where your coworkers talk loudly on the phone, where you pretend to work while actually scrolling through Reddit for the 100th time.
In the Middle Ages, people worked in the fields. From dawn to dusk, they hoed, they sowed, they harvested. Physical fatigue, broken backs, ruined hands. But at least they saw the sun. They felt the wind. They came home tired, yes, but with the feeling of having accomplished something concrete. You come home after 8 hours in front of a screen and you feel empty, exhausted, without energy, because you spent the day answering useless emails, attending meetings that could have been resolved with a text message, filling out Excel spreadsheets that no one will ever read. You've produced nothing, and you know it, but you keep going, because you have to, because if you don't eat, just like in the Middle Ages. You arrive at the office, you go up. More stairs, because obviously the elevator is slow here too. You enter. The first thing you see? Lights. Lights everywhere. White, cold, surgical. The kind of lights that make you want to go back to bed immediately. The second thing? Noise. Keyboards clicking. Phones ringing. People talking. A printer jamming in the background like a background mantra of modern hell. You sit at your desk. You open your email. 37 new emails. It's 9 in the morning. 37. You scroll through them. Half are spam. The other half are useless. One is from the boss. Can we talk? No context, no explanation, just can we talk? Obviously, now you're anxious. What did I do? Did I do something wrong? Am I in trouble? Or does he just want me to make another useless report? You don't know. And you won't know until you meet him. Meanwhile, the anxiety builds.
In the Middle Ages, if the feudal lord wanted to talk to you, you already knew why. Either you had to pay taxes, or you had to enlist, or you were in trouble. Simple. Clear. You, on the other hand, live in a world where a 3-word message can ruin your day. The morning passes, you work, or pretend to work. You do things. You fill out spreadsheets. You write reports. You answer emails. You attend a Zoom meeting where half the people have their webcams turned off and the other half are clearly distracted. Your boss talks for 40 minutes. He says things, lots of things, but he says nothing. Finally, he asks, "Any questions?" Silence. No one has questions. No one understands, but no one wants to admit it. So everyone says, "No, I'm clear." The meeting ends. You've wasted an hour of your life, an hour you'll never get back. In the Middle Ages, if the Lord summoned you, at least it was short. Work harder, pay more, that's it. You, on the other hand, attend meetings that could be summarized in a 2-line email. But no, it has to be a meeting, because otherwise, how are we supposed to fill the time and justify the existence of half the company's roles? Lunchtime arrives. Finally, you're hungry, fiercely hungry. You haven't eaten anything decent since 7 in the morning. You get off. There's a bar nearby. You go in. There's a line inside, of course. You wait. You look at the menu. Sandwiches, sad salads, cold pasta in plastic containers. Choose a sandwich, ham and cheese, the basic one, the one everyone eats. You pay €6. €6 for a sandwich that tastes like cardboard and sadness. You go back to the office. You eat at your desk, while you work, while you look at the screen, while you reply to another email. The sandwich is dry. The cheese is rubbery. The ham tastes of salt and nothing, but you eat it because you're hungry and because you only have a half-hour break. In the Middle Ages, people stopped to eat. They sat down. They ate bread, cheese, maybe a little meat if they were lucky. They drank. They rested. You eat while you work. You don't stop. You don't rest. You're on a break, but you're not really, because you keep looking at the screen. You keep thinking about work. You keep being productive, even when you shouldn't. Welcome back to the Middle Ages. The afternoon is endless. The hours drag on. You look at the clock. It's 3, then 3:30, then 4. Every minute seems like an hour. You do things. Always the same things. You copy, you paste, you write, you delete, you rewrite. Your brain is off. You're on autopilot. Around you, your colleagues are doing the same. Everyone's stuck. Everyone's trapped. Everyone's pretending to be busy. Some go to the bathroom every half hour just to get 5 minutes of respite. Some stare at the wall. Some scroll Instagram secretly under their desk. Everyone survives. In the Middle Ages, at least when you worked in the fields, you saw progress. You sowed, it grew. You harvested, you ate. Cause and effect. What do you see? An Excel spreadsheet, a report no one will ever read, an email that will be archived and forgotten. You work, but you don't see the fruits. You produce, but you don't know what for. You're a cog, and cogs don't think, they just turn. Finally, 6 o'clock, the end. You turn off the computer. You get up. You say goodbye. No one really answers. Everyone's already hanging out. Everyone just wants to leave. You go out. It's already dark outside. Or almost, because it's November and the sun sets at 5. You go back to the bus stop. You wait for the bus again. It's raining. Of course. You don't have an umbrella. Of course. You get wet. The bus arrives. It's full. Again. You slip on. Same smell. Same tired people. Same route. You go home.
You open the door. You walk in. Silence. Darkness. You turn on the light. The house is exactly as you left it this morning. Messy. Empty. Cold. You take off your shoes. You flop down on the couch. You grab your phone. You scroll. Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, YouTube. You're not looking for anything. You're just scrolling. 10 minutes pass. 20. Half an hour. An hour. You notice. You feel guilty. I should do something productive. But you don't because you're tired. Too tired. Too drained. In the Middle Ages, when you got home, you collapsed. You slept. End. You, on the other hand, still have the energy to scroll, to watch, to consume useless content created by people you don't know and don't interest you. But you keep going because it's easier, because turning your brain off is the only relief you have.
Dinner. You have to eat. You get up, go to the kitchen, open the fridge. Even worse than this morning. Close the door, open the pantry. Pasta. Again. Boil water, throw in the pasta. You wait. Meanwhile, you're back on your phone. The water boils, the pasta's ready. You drain it, grab a jar of ready-made sauce, pour it in, stir. Done. This is cooking. This is dinner. You sit on the couch, you watch while series on Netflix. A series you've already seen. It doesn't really interest you, but it's there, so you watch it. You eat without thinking, without savoring. You swallow. In the Middle Ages, dinner was a special moment. The family gathered. They ate together. They talked. Little, perhaps, but they were together. You eat alone, in front of a screen, in silence. And tomorrow will be the same, and the day after, and the day after that. You finish eating. You take the plate to the kitchen. You leave it in the sink. I'll wash it tomorrow. You won't wash it tomorrow. It'll pile up with the others. And in 3 days, you'll wash it all at once because it's more efficient. Or so you tell yourself. It's 10 o'clock. You should go to sleep. You have work tomorrow. Again. But you don't go to bed. You stay on the couch. You scroll again. You watch videos. You read articles you don't finish. You listen to podcasts halfway. Hours pass. It's 11 o'clock, midnight, 1 o'clock. I have to go to bed, but you don't go. Because these hours stolen from the night, are the only ones you truly feel are yours. The only ones where you don't have to do anything, you don't have to answer to anyone, you can just exist. So you stay there, in the dark, with the light from the screen illuminating your face, alone, tired, empty. In the Middle Ages, when night fell, you had no choice. There was no light. There was nothing to do. You slept. You have the light. You have infinite possibilities. Yet you choose to stay awake, doing nothing, feeling guilty for not sleeping, but unable to go to bed. Finally, you give in. It's 2 o'clock. You get up, go to the bathroom, brush your teeth. Again, quickly. You go back to your room, you undress, you throw yourself on the bed. The sheets are cold, the mattress is uncomfortable, but you're too tired to care. You close your eyes. You think, tomorrow will be different. But you know it won't. Tomorrow you wake up again. Same bed, same routine, same bus, same office, same life. And you'll feel exactly the way you feel now. Empty, trapped, alive, but not truly, modern, but medieval. Congratulations, you made it. If you've made it this far, you understand. You're not the problem, it's the system. If this video made you feel less alone, leave a like. Tell me in the comments what time of day you feel most medieval. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe. Here we talk about the real things, the things everyone thinks, but no one says. I hope you survive tomorrow. See you in the next video. Remember,
You're in the Middle Ages, but at least now you know.